Krister, thanks so much for your time. I mean, one would say it is expected that AMCU would, describe as flawed or reject the numbers of Sibanye-Stillwater, given that it doesn't play into your favor. What about their independent exercise do you believe makes their way of verifying who the majority union is at the gold operations flawed?
Fifi, thank you. The main thing, I think, is in the word independent. The company that they procured in secret behind our backs, normally what would happen is the employer and the union would together decide which provider to procure. Sibanye avoided this, briefed Tokiso, an independent agency well known for favoring employers, by themselves, and they designed their verification exercise to suit their agenda.
In what way?
This has quite a long history I want to quickly explain to you. The first attempt to do this was on 13 December 2018. They approached the Labour Court to interdict us, to stop us from striking, but they failed, and they also got costs awarded against them. And the judge at that time said that their figures are suspect, very suspect. The words he used was serious doubt. We were then ordered, both parties, to have a membership verification. We had a meeting, a first meeting on the 3rd of January, while most people were still on holiday. And we got together, and immediately AMCU said, we welcome a verification, but this verification must count everybody at Sibanye-Stillwater. Obviously, what the mine wanted to do is to only prove, you might know that the issue here is about floor crossing. They said that since 22 November to then 13 December, a number of AMCU members mostly joined the NUM, and therefore the balance has shifted, and they now constitute the majority, which in terms of Section 23 of the Labour Relations Act gives them the right to extend the agreement to AMCU, thus rendering the wage dispute resolved. Then they failed. They tried again on 18 February this year. Again failing, because the court ruled that they've argued the matter before, and that matter is still under appeal, the issue of the 13 December judgment. Except
speaking to the company earlier on today, they noted that this was their third attempt, but they're quite confident that this time they won't fail before the courts. What makes you think that their outcome could be otherwise?
Well, let's talk about the verification exercise then. I've given you a bit of background. What happened here is they went behind our backs, appointed Tokiso, briefed them to suit their specific needs, which in December was found to be flawed. Then they called us and said, guys, come and participate in the terms of reference.
This is
Tokiso and Sibanye. Remember, Tokiso is appointed and paid by Sibanye.
For sure, but who called you? Tokiso called you?
Yes, Tokiso called us to Sibanye on Sibanye's instruction, chairing the meeting, asking us to input on the terms of reference. We made a 14-page document of inputs. They took almost none of our inputs, implemented it at haste, got their results, and now they prematurely, today we actually had a dispute meeting, they prematurely went to the media and announced victory.
Why? What makes it premature? I mean, they've got the results, they've got the findings, let us announce. And Sibanye-Stillwater, as a listed company, has got the duty to announce to its shareholders, what the latest developments in the strikes are.
Surely they can only announce it once the dispute has been resolved. The terms of reference has a dispute clause. And the dispute clause says that the results are only final once the dispute has been resolved.
But Krister, you're making quite serious allegations here against Tokiso.
Yes.
That essentially, I mean, it is. Yeah. You're saying that they didn't do the job properly because the company had paid them. Sibanye-Stillwater had paid them to produce a report that found in their favor.
Well, I would say the payment issue is a side issue. The biggest issue is the fact that they briefed them without us being present. So the brief, and let me explain to you, maybe it's very complicated, I want to try and make it simple. To count the relevant, the respective sizes of unions, you need to count all the unions. You can't just count one grouping. What they did here is they only counted what they call the coalition, UASA, Solidarity, and the National Union of Mine Workers. They didn't even count AMCU. So they reasoned that by just counting those people and only the floor crosses between 22 November and 18 February constitutes a verification.
Okay, so you're saying that essentially, and you've described to us how you feel that their verification method is flawed. What have you guys done, I mean, to get the numbers in your favor? Because speaking to Sibanye-Stillwater earlier on today, they believe they constitute around 53%. I believe that was the findings of this particular study, that those three unions constitute 53% of miners at the gold operations. What have you guys done in this time, 6 months now that the strike is going on, to produce a report that finds otherwise?
Thank you. I'm glad you're asking that question. We are getting hordes of membership forms. The problem is Sibanye didn't take that into consideration. Remember, our people are on strike, firstly. So the issue of processing our forms has not happened. It hasn't happened. We have, at the moment, at our lawyers, they told me today, about 500 forms for that period, which just wasn't considered. If you look at the numbers here, it's literally 800 members would make the difference. So by not counting us, it was not independent. The whole process was steamrolled on us. We were not included, our contributions were not included in the terms of reference.
All right, all right.
And therefore we disputed, and we shall, obviously,
continue to dispute, because here's the thing now, you've got mine workers who have not received a salary for 6 months.
Yes.
As Sibanye-Stillwater detailed in their reports. In fact, I even went out to one of their operations and found that, they continue to provide some of the workers with shelter. Those that live on their headquarters, they continue to buy food. They've continued to provide food. I mean, they continue to make contributions to their medical needs and the like. What is it going to take to bring you two parties together? Because this can't continue to the point where now, because the workers have stayed on strike for so long, the money that they could get in going back now has reduced to zero. Sibanye is saying that they're willing to make a soft kind of loan to workers, but I mean, who wants to come back to work and have to pay a loan? When does this end, though? What will it take?
Well, the first thing you must understand, which I find always interesting, is somewhere there's this perception that AMCU or the national office or the national leadership are the ones who are telling members to strike. These members are striking. I was there today.
Yes, but of course
they are striking because they want to improve their living conditions.
Sure. Understood, 100%.
Yes.
But also, I mean, in improving their living conditions, they will need to have a job. And there is a big fear that they might not have one, because Sibanye-Stillwater has announced a big restructuring where thousands of jobs could be lost. Yes. I'm just saying that, someone needs to be the adult in this negotiation. Someone needs to stand up to say, all right, this must happen for this to end. Will it be AMCU?
AMCU wants to end it. AMCU has wanted to end it. Have you read the whole story? I see you're quite au fait with the Sibanye arguments. Have you followed the story in completion?
Taking no sides here.
No, let me just tell you. There was an offer on the table after a lot of negotiations of 4,500 Rand, an ex gratia. I agree with you, a loan is not something that will bring them back. They want something. So there was an offer of 4,500 Rand on the table. We calculated the difference between the settlement and our demands to be 9,300. The 4,500 was on the table. As we were in the process to get the mandate from them, remember we need to have mass meetings with these people to get our mandate. Sibanye pulled back that offer of 4,500 Rand. Then there was a process facilitated in terms of Section 150 by the CCMA. They proposed, the CCMA proposed a settlement figure, an ex gratia payment of 5,700 Rand. AMCU went back to its members, Sibanye went back to its principals, the team. We came back, AMCU said, it's fine, we'll take the 5,700. Sibanye said no.
But you can understand the difficulty, though, because, I mean, that wage a deal, not to say that the workers are not deserving of it, but you can understand the difficulty in that it was more than what Sibanye had agreed with 3 other unions.
But can you also agree that the CCMA is objective? If the CCMA had made that offer, don't you think it was a fair settlement offer? The CCMA is a reputable institution.
Fair point, Krister. But again, how do we end this? Where to from here?
We truly wish, what we want, and we've said it constantly, is a full membership verification, a proper, not a flawed one, under the auspices of the CCMA. We will ask the same to the court when we get to court in this.
Right.
And we pray that that will happen. The moment we have a full verification, and it's proven that in fact, yes, the coalition is more than 50 plus 1%. We will be the first to abide and return back.
Okay, no, this is great to hear. I mean, certainly this uncertainty in the Labour front is not something that a lot of people like to hear, from the shareholders of Sibanye-Stillwater to the families of these mine workers who, you know, rely on many of these mine workers for income. But nonetheless, that was Krister Van Rensburg, HOD of the Organisational Development at AMCU.